good morning to all of you. I'm Dr. Suniti Dutt, and I'm a research assistant here in this particular department of media engineering. And today we'll be discussing about the cyber crimes and the cyber laws. So, up to this point, you have been seeing how to protect yourself over the web. But in some cases, it actually becomes very much difficult. You may fall a victim to this particular scenario of the cyber crime. So, it's very important to know one case that you may fall a victim, and the second case why you need to know about the cyber crimes and the cyber laws is because you might inadvertently, right, you might commit a particular crime that you are not even aware of, right? And so you need to know the consequences of that particular crime also. So if you want to be free of any kind of criminal record, and you want to be safe, so you need to know about these particular cyber laws. So, cybersecurity and cyber laws, these are what we are going to do today. So, first of all, we are just going in for some statistics that what is the cybercrime in India. So, Economic Times analysis of cybercrime says that Indian government is losing approximately 1.25 lakh crores per annum to all the cyber attacks that are happening. People are being defrauded, and their monies are being taken from their accounts through phishing emails or any other type of frauds which are being committed online. And in this process, 1.25 lakh per crore per annum are being losing. So Kaspersky has reported 4.5 million attacks in India in July 2020. So this is the data of only one single month. So 4.5 million attacks were there in a single month in 2020. As a matter of fact, during the COVID times, the cybercrime increased very rapidly, because many people, they did not have much to do, so they were going into ethical hacking, they were going into the cybercrime scenario, they were more active towards these particular kinds of cases. The National Crime Records Bureau, the NCRB, which is a national organization in India, it registers almost 53,000 incidents of cyber crimes in 2021 alone. So these are just those cases which had been reported online or for which complaints had been lodged. But sometimes we do not know the procedure of how to file a complaint, or sometimes we are hesitant to file a complaint, and people, they think that okay, it's okay, I lost 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees, doesn't matter, so it's okay, I'll be more vigilant the next time. So this does not account for those particular cases. And Karnataka, particularly the city of Bangalore, is the highest having the highest crime rate in India. So as you can see that the situation of cybercrime is very grim in India. And so for that particular thing, we are having cyber laws in India. Cyber laws in India are being held under two different categories. One is the normal इंडियन पिनल कोड, राइट? सो आपके जो आप सुनते हो ना, धारा इसके तहत आपको ये सजा देती है, या CRPC जिसको आप कहते हैं, क्रिमिनल प्रोसीडिंग्स का जो कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट होता है, तो दैट वाज द ओरिजिनल वन. बट later on in 2000 there came an IT Act. वो IT Act को इसीलिए उन्होंने implement किया था because there were a lot of things which were not being covered traditionally under the CRPC. So till date, what we are having is that some of the things are covered in Indian Penal Code, some of the crimes, they are covered under IT Act, and some of the crimes are covered under both the different categories, right? So if you commit some crime, or somebody commits a crime against you that falls under both the two categories, so the punishment that you will get will be the sum of the two categories, right? So you'll get the punishment according to the two categories. So you actually have to be very much aware of these particular cyber laws. The IT Act, this is the definition of the IT Act, and it combined various other acts also which were existing. For example, the Indian Evidence Act, the Banker Books Evidence Act, the Reserve Bank of India Act. So it includes everything. And because nowadays more and more transactions are happening digitally only, right? Digital signatures have come into place, and these are validated by the agencies also. So there is more and more need to gather knowledge about such kinds of acts. So a little bit of theoretical portion will be there in this before we actually move on to the types of scenarios or the case studies that we'll be discussing, that what had happened. So there are various acts, chapters in the IT Act of 2000. The first chapter defines the applicability and the various definitions of the types of crimes which are happening. The second chapter is totally concerned with the digital signatures or the electronic signatures. So digital signatures or the electronic signatures are not कि जो हम एक अपना पीडीएफ में अपना डिजिटल सिग्नेचर अपलोड कर देते हैं, दैट इज नॉट अ डिजिटल सिग्नेचर बेसिकली. दैट इज a signature which we have written on a piece of paper, we have scanned it and we have uploaded it. Digital signature is different from that, because that can actually verify the identity of a person, right? So if someone tries to steal your identity, then it can be verified through that particular digital signature. Then chapters 3 and 4 are related with the e-governance. Chapter number 5 is the protection or security of the electronic records, whatever are there, because uh, all the companies everywhere, they are going paperless. Now we don't have files, traditional files, filing systems is not there. Everything is online. So if a person fraudulently gains access to another companies or another organization's database, then it comes under this particular chapter. Then chapter number 6 is dealing with the certifying authorities. So if you need to have your own digital signature, there will be an authority which is going to certify your digital signature, that this digital signature belongs to you. So there's a stamping authority which actually, just जैसे हम सरकारी ऑफिसेज में बोलते हैं कि आपकी किसी भी चीज को लीगल करने के लिए एक स्टैंप होती है. So in the same way, in order to make our digital signatures, we usually don't have our digital signatures. Big companies, they're having their own digital signatures and they go on for these certifying authorities also. So chapter 6 is defining those. Then chapter 7 is for the certificates of electronic sign. Now this electronic sign is what we are doing basically, right? Then 8 is the duties of the different kinds of subscribers, because most of the transactions, they are happening over the internet right nowadays. So what all duties are there for the subscribers, that is being defined. Then the different kinds of penalties, this is the section we are most concerned about, that if we commit a particular crime or if someone commits a particular crime against us, then what kind of penalties are we looking into, what kinds of offenses are there, whether these offenses are bailable offenses, whether these offenses need the police authorities to have a arrest warrant for you, or will these be coming without an arrest warrant also. So all these things are covered under this particular chapter. Then chapter 10 is for the appellate tribunal, right? Because sometimes what happens is that uh, you are wrongfully convicted. The meaning of wrongful conviction is that you haven't actually committed a crime, but still you are wrongfully being sued. So there is an appellate authority where you can challenge the decisions, right? So I'll tell of a small incident also, that what happened in reality. There was this person called Lakshman Kailash Kumar. He was an IT professional in the city of Bangalore. And then there was a complaint regarding complaint to the cyber cell was made regarding some I'll call that illegal data that had been shared on some websites that was not ought to be shared. So what happens in such cases is that the police traces the IP address कि कौन से एड्रेस से यूजर ने इंटरनेट को एक्सेस किया था. तो इन दिस पर्टिकुलर केस द कंपनी which was dealing the police was dealing with was Airtel, right? So police had some miscommunication. So miscommunication क्या हुआ, police gave the time but they forgot to mention the AM and the PM. So what was happened is the Airtel company, they provided that this particular user, this Kumar from Bengaluru, he had accessed this particular IP address at this particular time, but because they had not mentioned AM or PM, they gave the time for the AM because they were taking the 24 hours format, so they took the time of AM. But according to the police, it was time of PM. That person was wrongfully, taken into because the under the section that he was arrested was without a arrest warrant also. So he was immediately picked up from his office and he was taken and placed in the police custody. He was there for almost 50 days in rigorous police custody before he was released on bail, right? And he was paid a compensation 2 years later, and that compensation was also a very meager amount of 2 lakhs. So the time amount of time he had to spend in jail versus the compensation that was made to him because of the error of the miscommunication between the police and the the company which was being involved, the internet provider company that was being involved there. So such kinds of things happen, and you need to be very much aware, right, of these laws in order to save yourself if you have not actually committed that particular crime. So there are appellate tribunals also in this case. Then offenses and punishments. Chapter 9 is about the penalties, and chapter 11 is about the offenses and punishment, where the involvement is there, that you have to go in for imprisonment for any number of years that have been defined in those particular cases. Then chapter 12 is a new chapter which has been added for the liability of intermediaries. Right. Now, what is an intermediary? I'll just give you a very good example, that Google is an intermediary. How the Google is an intermediary? Because you search for a something on the web, Google, and Google lists you a list of websites, right, from where you can fetch that particular information. Now, I am a customer. I am the user of an this particular internet. I'll search for something on the internet. I click on that particular link, and that link is containing, let's say, some pornographic data, or some data that is downloading a virus into my system or something like that, right? So now, what was happening is that if I was involved in such a particular case, what was happening is that I will be suing the particular website, but that website was hosted on the Google, and Google was, saving its neck out of it, that I'm not involved because you clicked on that particular link. But before hosting that particular website on the search engine, the Google must also verify that what's the contents of those particular websites. So in order to take into account the intermediaries, this type of things were added. There was another example. There's a Art of Living Foundation in India. You must have heard about that. So what happens? There was a particular person. I don't remember the name of the person. Maybe I'll check it for you. And he had posted some derogatory remarks about that particular, Art of Living Foundation on a blogging website. Right. So blogging website said, I don't, I'm not involved in this. I'm just an intermediary. Whatever the person has posted against that particular organization, it's your responsibility, it's not my responsibility, although it should have been that particular blogging website's responsibility also to verify what type of content has been is being posted. So that is why this particular liability of intermediaries was added. And nowadays, if you just check, if you have perhaps created a filter on Snapchat. If you have used a Snapchat, we create filters on Snapchat. We do it here all the time in our labs also. So before uploading that particular filter, it doesn't go public automatically. They take time at their back end. They verify that whether the filter is not creating any inappropriate thing, and then they make it public. So this is how the things are taking place nowadays. Even if you want to post something on the websites like Facebook, right? So at the back end, the data is being analyzed, that nothing illegal is being posted here. Sometimes you post a video, and then video is taken back after a certain amount of time by the authorities of the Facebook or from the YouTube, because of such reasons only, that they do not want to be involved in any kind of crime, right? Because there is now liability of the intermediaries. That is why such intermediaries have now started taking up these particular steps, right? So when we were younger, we you all have been uh, you know uh, seen this, that you clicked on some particular link and something inappropriate opened up on your systems without even you knowing, right? So that used to happen earlier, but now it's all very safe. So now those kinds of inappropriate content is not going to be visible to you, right? Then the last is miscellaneous. So all the things that have been left out earlier are continuously being added into this particular IT Act, Information Technology Act 2000. So the last section is for the miscellaneous section. So now we'll be starting one by one with the different sections. We are starting with the sections which are coming under the IT Act. The first one is Section 43. So Section 43 is related mostly towards the damage of computers or the networks in any form, right, without taking consent of the user or the owner of that particular computer or the network. For example, in a particular organization, you have a lot of different computers. When I say the damage to the computers, it not only means the damage to the hardware, it also means the damage to the software inside that particular one. So the punishment for this particular one is imprisonment up to 3 years or fine up to 5 lakh rupees, right? So imprisonment up to 3 years in jail or fine up to rupees 5 lakhs. And then there's a column on the right which deals with its bailability and cognizability, right? So bailability का क्या मतलब है, that whether that particular offense is bailable or non bailable. That means whether you can come out of court after a few days of custody or whether you cannot come out if that is kind of an offense. And then second is cognizable. Cognizable means that whether the police can arrest you without an arrest warrant, or they have to bring a proper arrest warrant from the court and then they can arrest you. So if any offense is cognizable, it means that the police does not have to furnish a arrest warrant, right? So bina arrest warrant ke bhi they can just take you away from wherever you are. So this is the meaning of a cognizable offense. So cognizable offense and bailable offense. So this particular offense, section 43, is both cognizable and bailable. You will be arrested immediately by the police without the punishment of any kind of arrest warrant, and then you will be tried by the court of judicial magistrate first class, and then only it will be decided that whether bail should be granted to you or not. So this is the first one. Then is section 65, typically deals with tampering of the source code. So whatever software you are having inside, if you are tampering with that particular source code, or you are taking that particular source code, you can be held under section number 65. Again, this is bailable, but it is cognizable offense also. That means you can be taken by the police as a way, and then imprisonment of up to 3 years depending upon the severity of the data that you had. Yes, sure. So depending upon the severity of the case, that is of course being decided by the court of the judicial magistrate first class. Then we have section 66, and section 66 has a lot of different subsections inside it. So section number 66 is having a lot of different subsections inside it, and we'll be seeing them one by one. In general, it is related to all the offenses which are related to section 43. That means in relation to the computers only, right? But then it has various subcategories: 66A, B, C, D, E, and F. Let's start with them one by one. So section 66A was related to sending offensive messages through communication services, etc. But this section was later scrapped off of this particular IT Act. Why was this scrapped off? Because of the case that what happened earlier was that there was a particular girl, Shreya. She belonged to Mumbai, and what happened during this particular thing was there was a demise or death of a political leader in Maharashtra. Right, a very famous political leader was there in Maharashtra. I'll not name him. You probably all know the name of the person, the very famous political leader in Maharashtra in Mumbai. And then when he died, that particular person died. What happened was that there was talks of entire shutdown of the Mumbai city for 3 days. So for 3 days, the Mumbai city was shut down. Complete shutdown was there of the Mumbai city, and there were two girls. One was Shreya and one was her friend. The posting was done from the account of from the Orkut account. Back in those days, there was Orkut, there was not Facebook. So posting were done from the account of Orkut. And then what was posted, that she posted certain things, if a leader has died, what's the need of complete closure of a city and all sorts of things. Why should all the services be destroyed, and why should the shops not open, and all sorts of things. So she had done this, but then she was held under this 66A because uh, the political members of that particular political party, they felt that offensive messages have been played out. But then what happened was that this particular girl, Shreya, she appealed to the court that there is freedom to speech in India, right? And because there is freedom to speech, and I'm not saying any derogatory remarks against anyone, I'm just voicing out my opinion that why should such things being happened, so I should not be tried under this particular category. She was released, right? She was released by the court. But what happened was that this section had to be scrapped off, 66A, because of the ambiguities in this particular section. So while the section 66 still maintains that if something obscene or offensive or derogatory is happening for somebody, then it should be tried. But other one, if someone is simply voicing out their opinions, then this should be left out from the scenario. But again, this offense was bailable and cognizable. That means the police arrested that particular girl, like as such only, without any kind of arrest warrant. Then comes 66B. So 66B is related to dishonestly receiving stolen computer resource or communication device. The imprisonment is up to 3 years and fine is up to 1 lakh. So all of these are bailable and cognizable except the last one, which is cyber terrorism. I'll come to that also. Then 66C is simply identity theft. That if someone tries to take, let's say, your Aadhaar card. Your Aadhaar card is your identity. So if someone tries to dishonestly try to use your Aadhaar card and pass it on as his own Aadhaar card, then that person can be held liable under Section 66C of the IT Act 2000. Again, imprisonment of up to 3 years and fine of up to 1 lakhs. Then cheating by personation or by using any kind of computer resource comes under 66D. In their definitions, the complete it has been defined that what sorts of scenarios will fall under these particular categories. Then section 66C is violation of privacy. Violation of privacy, for example, if you are in somebody has hacked the cameras of your own home, and they are taking that over that footage, and they are posting it on some obscene websites or something like that. So this comes under the violation of your privacy, and this is again a cognizable offense, and you can get imprisonment of up to 3 years. And last 66F is cyber terrorism, which is even a non-bailable offense. Cyber terrorism, even a simple threat like a bomb hoax. If you just type out an email and send out that email to all the different places, then this comes under cyber terrorism, right? So you do not get to instill fear in the minds of common public by using the means of computer or internet. Recently, also, it was in news that in Delhi schools and in the few schools of Ahmedabad also, there was a mail of the fake bomb hoax. So, this is a non-bailable offense also. So whoever that person is, the cyber crime police will be able to track those people down, and then they will be able to deal with this in a proper manner because of the sections that have been actually created under the IT Act also. Moving on further, section number 67, publishing or transmitting obscene material in the form of electronics. So this particular one case, section number 67, it was the very first case that resulted in the liability of the intermediaries, because before that what was happening is that the intermediaries, they were just saving themselves, they're saving their skins, because they say we are not liable of what content the people are posting on their websites. So this was the very first case after which the liability of intermediaries came into consideration in the IT Act 2000. uh, so there was this particular case in 2005, bazi.com. You may have heard of this case, you may have not heard of this case. So there was a e-commerce portal, bazi.com, and that person was taken into custody, and then he had to be released, because till then the intermediaries were not liable. So he had posted some pornographic content on his website, and he just took out his claim that I am not responsible for whatever content the others are posting on his particular website. So this particular case was also again a landmark case. It was tried for a few years, and after that, the resolution was passed to take into account the intermediaries also. So then its subsections were also there: 67A, 67B, and 67C. Publishing or transmitting of sexually explicit material in electronic form. Then the one in which you are exploiting the children or women, right? Basically the children, because now the other act of the Indian Penal Code also is associated with it, that you cannot sexually exploit the children or the women. So those acts are also along with here. And 67C specifically for the intermediary, whether he has knowingly or whether unknowingly also, if some wrong content is posted on their website, then they are going to be held liable for this particular case, right? Next, moving on to section number 68, that failure to comply with the directions given by the controller of the, the authority which is giving you the digital signatures. So that particular authority. Then section number 69 is the failure to assess the agency. Again, the previous one, this is the agency which gives you the electronic certificates, right? Failure of the intermediary to comply with the directions which have been issued to it, or intermediary who intentionally or knowingly, does not consider the provisions which are there in that particular code. All these three offenses are non-bailable. That means if they can commit these particular offenses, they are not going to get mail. They are just going to stay with the police custody until their hearing is over, right? And they are cognizable. That means the police can directly arrest them no matter how. And a rigorous imprisonment of up to 7 years is there into this particular cases. So section 69 is basically not for the larger public like you, but for the bigger companies and the intermediaries like Google, or like the website that I just named, bazi.com, that was existing earlier. Now it's not there. Then section number 70, any person who secures access or attempts to secure access to a protected system, right? So imprisonment of either 10 years and fine also, whatever it is being decided. So what happens is that uh, internet service providers are there, right? Internet service providers are having data of every kind of subscriber who are with them. So if any person tries to steal or tamper with that particular data, a person who is working in those particular organization also, right, then they will be tried under this particular section. So this happened because there was an internet service provider. I'm not going to name that particular service provider. uh, okay, I'll name it Reliance. So the Reliance, earlier Geo, there were two different companies. So it was working under CDMA first. Now it has come to GSM, right? So दो होती थी बहुत पहले, अगर आप याद करो तो वो CDMA पे होती थी, which was owned by, I think, Anil Ambani के पास ही थी. And what happened was, four of the employees who were there on that particular one, they tempered with the electronic SIM, जो उनके e SIMs होते थे उनके साथ they tempered. And then every data of those subscribers were going to those four people of that particular company. And then those four people of the company, they were tried by this particular court. And they were sentenced to the imprisonment for illegally accessing the protected resources. Then section 71, misrepresentation to the controller or the certifying authorities. This is again leading to the authorities who are issuing you the digital signatures. Then section number 72, breach of confidentiality or privacy, disclosure of information in breach of lawful contract. So you probably are not working in companies, but for the people who are working with company, in particularly the IT departments, they always have a breach of confidentiality. Even I'll also tell you that I was working with the telecom sector before I came here. I'm an electronics engineer, and I was working with Vodafone. Now, if you are working in telecom sector, you must be aware that police is able to track someone's position, someone's location with the help of their SIM cards, but this is illegal. If I try to track out a person, that where that person is present at this particular time using their phone numbers, I can go to jail, because unless and until the police gives us in writing that this person needs to be tracked, no one can track that particular company. So I we when we sign their documents, and when we are being hired, so we sign all sorts of documents, and they are containing these confidentiality agreements, that we are not going to give the location information to anybody if they ask, or we are not going to use it for our own beneficial purposes, right? So anything that comes is a breach of that particular confidentiality, and then you can be held liable under this particular section. Or trade secrets, if they are there, then you cannot transmit them electronically, to share them with other companies. So that is also disclosure of information in through IT, through the means of IT, right? Section 73 is publishing electronic signature certificate falls in certain particulars. Now, like I said, digital electronic certificates are being used by bigger companies right nowadays. So if someone from that company is trying to forge those particular signatures falsely, use those particular digital signatures falsely, then they can be tried under this also section 73. Now again, these things are also covered in some sections of the Indian Penal Code, but they are also tried here. So the person is, if he commits such an offense, he will be tried under both the authorities. So you should be aware that you are not, somehow using your, institutions or your organization signatures in a wrongful manner, because then you can be held by the uh, court of law. Then section 74 is publication for a fraudulent purpose. This is again in agreement with the section 420, committing fraud in the CRPC, right? 420 जिसको हम कहते हैं, right? Fraudulent purposes. Then let's move on to the Indian Penal Code 1980. And 1980 mein, a lot of digital interactions were not there. The internet was not so much up to the power, and the means were different. The committing of fraud was different. The committing of crimes against women, against children were different in a manner. So they have been clubbed together. So now, if any person commits such sort of crimes, he will be tried under IT Act also, he will be tried under Indian Penal Code also. So let's start with the different one. So Indian Penal Code 1980, Section 292, obscene, sexually explicit acts, exploits for women. This is specifically for women. 354C is also publishing the parts. If you're recording, a woman without her consent or something, right? So you can get, rigorous offenders can get up to 7 years. If you are committing it for the first time, you can get up to 3 years. But any time, any point of time, if you commit any such crimes, you are on a permanent record of the government of India. And any sort of jobs or anything that you do is very much unlikely that you will, yeah, right. Then stalking, including physical and cyber stalking, is also a crime. So you cannot follow a particular person, you cannot follow a particular person, keep on checking their social media accounts also again and again, that whether what they are doing nowadays, because that is also considered stalking, right? So do it, but not in a sort of a manner that is like, you're completely keeping track of what that other person is doing or whatnot. Then theft is section 379. 420, everybody knows, is fraudulent, cheating, dishonesty. Then 463, falsifying documents on records or electronically also. So if you forge somebody's signatures, electronic signatures also, then also it's a crime. Forgery, preparation of false documents, like, let's say you are preparing false medical records of somebody or something like that. That also is a criminal offense. Then fraud, 7 years prison sentence and fine. Somebody sends you a phishing email, you click on that link, and then you know you a fraud happens, your bank account is void of amount of money, and such kind of things falls under fraud. What was happening earlier also, I'll tell you a case also. uh, After the intermediaries came into being, now one type of intermediary मैंने आपको बताई कि Google is an intermediary. That is an intermediary जो आपकी एक मतलब एक सर्च इंजन है. But there are other type of intermediaries also. For example, bank. ठीक है, आप बैंक पे भी ट्रांजेक्शन करते हो आप. ठीक है, बैंक इज ऑल्सो एन इंटरमीडियरी, बिकॉज समवन जो आपको डिफ्रॉड कर रहा है वो भी आपका बैंक अकाउंट ही खाली कर रहा है, राइट? सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज कि आप वेन एवर योर बैंक अकाउंट मनी इज बीइंग ट्रांसफर्ड टू अनदर बैंक अकाउंट, दैट बैंक इज ऑल्सो नाउ हेल्ड लायबल, because how could the bank open account of a fraudulent person without verifying all the, without making all the background checks on that particular person? So this particular happened in Pune also. There's a big company, Pune Auto Ancillaries, a very big company is there, and its owner, he was defrauded because he just clicked on a phishing email, and automatically almost 8 crore rupees were taken out of his bank account to 4 or 5 different other bank accounts which were associated with Punjab National Bank. So what happened was that the liability, जितना भी उसका पैसा डूब गया, that was shared equally amongst the owner, because at first he was at fault because he clicked on that particular phishing email. He should have been more aware as to not fall a victim to such kind of crimes. But it was also a liability of the Punjab National Bank, because they had not verified the details of the person, they had not carried out the background checks of the persons for whom they were opening those particular accounts. So the liability was shared by the owner, who was defrauded, as well as the Punjab National Bank, both of them. right? So intermediaries का role यहाँ पर भी आता है. So now this is the reason why banks have they are coming up with the, two-step authentication and other factors, so that they are ensuring you that this thing. If you call a banking bank customer care or health service, they'll keep on playing that nobody is going to ask for your OTP. If someone asks for your OTP, don't give your OTP, because they want to create awareness amongst the people, because everyday accounts are being opened. We also know that private banks, government banks, they have a pressure of getting more and more accounts open, right? So sometimes it's not even possible for them also to keep a check on every person who is there, because the population is very vast, right? So it's not possible for them also. So they are giving you an awareness that the bank will never ask for these things. Even bank is not going to ask for your own online KYC. If you want to have an online KYC, we are not asking for it. We will call you for a physical KYC, right? So such sort of measures are being taken by banks also, in order to protect themselves from such things, right? So common cybercrime scenarios and applicability of the legal sections. So harassment via fake public profile on social networking site. A fake profile of a person is created on a social networking site with the correct address, residential information, or contact address, but then obscene content is being posted on their website on their behalf, right? So this comes under harassment of that particular person, because let's say your fake profile has been created on the internet. You are not aware of that. You go and try out for a government job or a job at any private place also. A background check is now mandatory, right? They will see whether you are having your own social media platforms, whether you are there on the social media platforms, and they'll see, they perform in background check. I don't know if this is because valid in government scenario, but in private this is definitely the scene there. So a girl, because this is a scene related to a girl, so we're not going to name it. She came to know that her fake profile was existing during her job interview itself. So then that girl directed, she filed a complaint with the cyber cell, that a fake profile has been created under my name, and action should be taken against that particular one. And believe me, the cyber cell hears to all such things. So abhi kya hota hai, kisi ka bhi fake profile aaya, what you people generally do, or what you might have seen others generally do, is that they post a message on their Facebook, okay, that somebody else has created a fake profile on my behalf, you do not please accept their friend request. That's what they do. But this is not the right step for them to do. The right step for them to do is approach the cyber cell and get that fake account deleted. And if they are able to trace that owner also, then take actions against that particular owner, because that fake account is still existing. You just alerted your friends not to accept their friend request, but that account is still existing. So you should do this. And the cyber cell, it's their duty. You don't have to hire a lawyer on your behalf, right? It's their duty that they are going to try that particular person out against the section number 66, 67, and 509 of the Indian Penal Code. Then online hate community. Although freedom of speech is there in India, you can only voice your opinion. You cannot publicly put hate messages for a particular, person, or a particular political party, or a particular religious community. You say good about yourself, but you cannot defame others. You cannot spread hate in others, right? If you do so, for example, elections sir pe hai, but as a citizen of India, it's your moral duty to keep your decisions to yourself. आपको कोई पार्टी अच्छी लगती है, नहीं अच्छी लगती है, it's not there for you to post it out on the websites, right? Because that is posting out hate. People, political party leaders also, they can sue you under these particular categories, because in their opinion you are spreading hate for a particular party, for a particular community, right? So if whatever religion you belong to, you are not having faith in other religions, or you dislike other religions, keep it to yourself. Don't publicly post it, because you will be ultimately creating an offense for yourself, right? So you'll be getting into trouble if you post such things. So do not do this. Because you might have heard that recently only, I'll not name that particular YouTuber, it was a very famous YouTuber with a lot of online following, with a lot of subscribers, and he is right now in the arrested for this particular purpose only, because he openly derogated some religious community. That's the reason why. Right. Email account hacking. If the victim's email account is hacked and obscene emails are sent from that particular account, you are not required to keep mum. Take an action. Take an action. Report to the cyber cell. It's not difficult. Reporting to the cyber cell is not at all difficult. The next is credit card fraud. So cards के clones बहुत easily हो जाते हैं. Cloning of a card is basically your identity theft, because that card is your identity, right? And when it's cloned, it's your identity theft. So under sections 43, 66, 66C and D of the IT Act, and because dishonesty has been done to you, so under 420 of the Indian Penal Code also, you are going to be charged. You might not do this, right? But you can fall a victim to this. So that is why you need to be aware of these particular laws. So some of the things that you can do, I'm also highlighting, that don't post any of your opinions which are directed to a particular community or a particular political party online, right? You might say it, you might speak it, but don't post it, because somebody can take that matter from there, and then you can be held responsible for that. Web defacement. Sometimes what happens is that there's a company's website or some organization's website, and some inappropriate content is added onto that by hacking of that particular server of that particular organization. So again, this has been covered under IT Act also. Then introducing viruses, worms, backdoors, rootkits, trojans, and bugs, the different types of malware that anybody can put onto your system, or you can maybe download that unknowingly from the internet. So these can be done. And if you feel that a certain link online has resulted in a bug in your system, just you need to copy that particular URL and you need to post it onto the CRPC. It's free of cost. Lodging a complaint is free of cost. It won't take much of a time, hardly 5 to 10 minutes. But in the process, you are safeguarding others also who might inadvertently click on the same link, right? I'll tell you about that, ma'am. On the cyber cell, you need to just file a complaint on the cyber cell. There's no need. You won't be called to your police station or anything like that. You can post an anonymous complaint also if you want. If you don't want your details, you can post an anonymous complaint also, and the cyber cell police will take an action on that particular one. And whatever action has been taken will be visible on your account also. That whether that particular action has been taken or not, it will be visible to you also. They are having their own timeline, they're also having their own deadlines, that what type of cases, what is the deadline. 24 hours is the minimum deadline that they are having. Cyber terrorism. Many terrorists, they use virtual and physical storage for hiding information, for records of their activities. They are uploading videos of people who are saying that at so and so date this and this crime will be happening, that you might have seen in movies also. Everything, such sort of things come under the cyber terrorism, or the bomb hoax calls also, right? Or the emails also, these also come under cyber terrorism. So anywhere where you are instilling fear in the minds of the people, that comes under the category of the cyber terrorism. So refrain from doing such activities. Instruct your students, your kids, your peers, that even if they think of it as a joke, do not do this, because this is a serious offense, right? A 15-year-old was the first kid who was put into obviously he cannot be tried in a regular court because he's a minor, but he was the first one who was tried by a court for this kind of a scenario, for a fake bomb hoax call. And uh, the trial is obviously very much it's a harassment for the parents also and everybody. So even if it has is it's a joke, advise or tell or inform your loved ones, your students, that do not indulge in such kinds of things, because the police considers these things in a very serious manner, right? Then online sales of illegal articles, any kind of drugs or weapons, or even the wildlife items. If the tooth of the elephants or such sort of illegal items which are banned, even if you purchase it from website, Even if you are purchasing it, you are not even selling it, then also you are equally liable, right? So refrain from all these kinds of activities. Then cyber pornography, it's banned in many countries, but in India also cyber pornography comes under the WhatsApp for pornography. Also, it's not only dealing with the websites, but if someone tries to send you child pornographic videos, you must report them, right? You must report them. Phishing scams, email scams, fraudulently, taking sensitive information by being a trusted authority. Because banks, for example, they will never ask you for any kind of data over their emails. They will never ask you to click on any kind of link through their emails, right? Whatever they do, they're going to call you, and you should, even if they try to ask you something, for example, I had a car loan and they asked me to send them the RC of my car, which is not very difficult to obtain from the websites also. If you know a few details of the owner, then it's not difficult for you to obtain. But they asked me to send it, and I said no, I'm going to come and visit the branch and I'm going to submit it there in hard copy. And even while giving them the hard copy, you always cross that out, and you just write it over the hard copy that it's for banking purposes only, or for whatever purpose you are submitting. So cross it out, cross anything that you are doing, and cross it out. If you are going somewhere and you lost your wallet perhaps, and it is containing your Aadhaar card, it's okay. You might think that I'll download another Aadhaar card for myself or something like that. But you need to put a FIR also for the same. Why? Because in order to save yourself. Why save yourself? Because let's say any random person picks up your wallet from there and he puts that Aadhaar card in a place where a crime has been committed. Your Aadhaar card will be found from that place. Then where will you be? If you have registered an FIR that my wallet was stolen, and along with my wallet, so and so documents were also there, right? Then you will also have a proof that even if somebody tries to misuse it for some illegal activity, you are safeguarded from that place. So at every point of time, you need to safeguard yourself, whether it's online, whether it's offline, because of all these records. You need to be very much careful, because there are minds out there who are thinking of ways of saving themselves, and putting any random person in danger for the acts that they have committed, right? So uh, with all these scenarios, you need to be aware of everything. Then next, theft of confidential information. We all have a habit of saving confidential information on our systems. We store the passwords on our systems. So the systems can be hacked by our own friends also. Or not even hacked. If our friends also, they know the passwords to our systems, right? They can access that particular information. They can use that particular information. Even you should not tell the passwords of your mobile phones to your kids, because आपका Amazon, let's say if you are working on an Amazon website, your card number is stored in that particular Amazon. The kids might order something from your Amazon, right? So it's not a crime because they are your own kids. But for the sake of safety, you should not disclose your passwords to anyone, right? Then source code theft. You have made a program and your program has source code has been stolen by someone, or it has been important section which were not to be disclosed, they have been stolen by them and given to a third party organization for their own benefit. So everything is covered under the Copyright Act. Tax evasion, money laundering. Many people, they are actually laundering money in online version also. Like अब तो सब कुछ ऑनलाइन है, डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शंस हो रही हैं, बट स्टिल मेनी पीपल आर able to evade themselves from the tax, because what they do is they transfer money into someone else's account. For example, वो अपने मेड को बोल देंगे कि तुम्हारा अकाउंट नंबर हम इसके साथ लिंक कर रहे हैं, तुम्हारे को टैक्स नहीं आएगा अगर हम इतना पैसा डालेंगे, राइट? सो then the money goes to them, and then they take cash from that particular maid or something like that. So all these things, eventually they have been added onto this, so that in any form money laundering is not happening. So it happened, also that there was a business man, and there were transactions of almost 60 crores that were happening. And what happened was he was able to provide the receipts of everything, right? But after this particular cash was found at their home, 60 crores cash was found at their home, they were able to provide receipts of everything. But when the inquiry was made, then from the back end it was revealed that the receipts were post dated, right? Because now everything is digital. So आपकी handmade receipts भी नहीं चलेंगी आपको, because the receipts at back end, they are linked with the computer itself, and they were after the date of that raid. So they were eventually tried for this particular theft that they had created for this particular money laundering. Then online share trading fraud. uh, if you are trading, your demat accounts are there, you cannot buy any kind of share with your own demat account. Your demat account is linked with your actual bank account only, right? So if for example I have a demat account and I have two of my savings account, so one of my saving account is linked with that demat account, and all the transactions are happening in a fair and transparent matter. Even if I try to buy a share from my other savings account, right, or somebody else's saving account, it will reject it option. अगर आपके पास डीमैट अकाउंट है, try using that. And अगर आप कोई और अकाउंट नंबर से उसको रिक्वेस्ट करते हो कि आई विल बाय दैट शेयर्स फ्रॉम अनदर अकाउंट, वो नहीं पॉसिबल. फर्स्ट यू विल हैव टू ट्रांसफर दैट मनी टू योर डीमैट, टू योर account which is linked with the demat account, and then only you will be able to buy shares, right? So इतनी टाइट सिक्योरिटी उन्होंने कर दी है that you are not able to use anybody else's account to even buy the shares also. So it has resulted in lesser number of frauds, right? Because कल को मेरे पास आपके fraudulent डिटेल्स आ गए बैंक अकाउंट के, मैंने अपने डीमैट अकाउंट से आपका अकाउंट नंबर डाला और मैं शेयर्स खरीदना चाहती हूँ उससे, राइट? इंस्टेड ऑफ डायरेक्टली ट्रांसफरिंग द मनी, आई वांट टू बाय शेयर्स, but then my demat account will say that because that account number is not linked, so वो transaction ही decline हो जाती है, right? This has happened. You can also try. I tried it out before actually doing this. I actually tried it out a few days back, and it did not let that happen, right? Then comes to the important part of how to report, right? This is a very easy thing of how to report. You can call, you can go to their website, you can download their app, it's up to you. In almost all the big cities, right, we have the cybercrime cells. If you are belonging to a very small town, you don't have a cybercrime cell. If you're belonging to a village, you're not having a cybercrime cell, but you are having a police station. So if there is no cybercrime cell in your small town or small village, then go to the police station. Then you will have to physically go. But otherwise, the way out is lodging a complaint online or going to the cybercrime cell. So first of all, you can visit a cybercrime cell. The nearest cybercrime cell, you just Google it and it will tell you the location. You can file a written complaint, right? Provide your name, your contact details, and address for mail where the required documents can be mailed. Address the written complaint to the head of the cybercrime cell. So सिंपली जैसे आप पुलिस स्टेशन में अगर आपने एफआईआर करना है तो आप एक चिट्ठी लिखते हो प्लेन पेज पर, वैसे ही आपने सेम इसमें लिखनी है. जस्ट राइट हेड साइबर क्राइम सेल एंड योर कंटेंट in whatever language you know. Just write your content, write the details that at what time what happened, every details you need to give. According to the IT Act, cybercrime comes under the purview of global jurisdiction, which is very, very important. Because जरूरी नहीं है कि आपका साइबर क्राइम आपके ही शहर में हुआ है. There's a person who is sitting in Bangalore, or a person who is sitting in Tamil Nadu, and he has taken your money fraudulently over the email. So it's a global purview. Cybercrime also, it's a global purview because it's not related to India only, it's related to the other countries also. But when it's inter country wala, then what happens is that their laws are also applicable along with your laws. So then the cybercrime will tell you that how the dealing will be done in this particular scenario. Then we have this NCCR portal. This is a National Cybercrime Reporting Portal, online portal. We have a helpline number also, 1930. Just dial 1930 with your number and lodge a complaint through that. Visit a nearest cyber cell that we have already seen. And if there is no cyber cell which is available, file an FIR in your nearest police station, and then they will reach out to the cyber cell. That's what all you need to do here. Then moving on, next, visit the page cybercrime.gov.in. On the home page, you just have to click on file a complaint. There will be terms and conditions. You just need to read those terms and conditions and accept it. Right? Standard terms and conditions. Click on report another cybercrime button. Select the citizen logins. आपसे कुछ डिटेल्स मांगेंगे आपके वो डिटेल्स आप फिल कीजिए उसमें. Enter the OTP from your phone number and fill in the captcha because it's not a robot which is doing this all. Then it will take you to the next page where you are going to report the details of the cybercrime. There are two ways to report it, either with your complete details or an anonymous complaint, right? If you are a victim, then you definitely fill in your details because whatever will happen with your details. If it's just for the sake of public, right, for the benefit of the public, you can report a anonymous cyber complaint also, that certain link is a fraudulent link or something like that. If you want to do that, you can put in for go in for an anonymous one. This is how it will look like. So all the details आपके फोन नंबर के थ्रू ही हो जाता है. जस्ट फोन नंबर इज रिक्वायर्ड, राइट? If you are not putting in a if you are putting in an anonymous complaint, it's good and go through with your phone number also. Otherwise, you need to have your email ID also, right? It's a very easy thing. Drop down menus आपके बने हुए हैं. आप drop down करते हैं what type of incident has happened, what date incident had happened, at what time the incident took place, right? At which place, which city the incident took place, and additional details about the incident. If you want to describe that particular incident, you can. I was my bank account was robbed of 80,000 rupees and so on. You list out all the particular details, and 1500 characters may you have to fit that particular one. Then save it, go to next. If you have, I'll just take you here. This is when you click on the report anonymous button. So when you report the anonymous button, other details will not be asked, right? Your personal details will not be asked. Your name वगैरह ये सब कुछ नहीं पूछा जाएगा आपसे. Yes. After reviewing all the information, just click on the submit button and you will be directed onto the incident details page. You need to have supporting evidence of the crime. In case you are the victim of that, you need to have supporting evidence of the crime. बहुत simple सा supporting evidence आपको चाहिए, and I'll tell you what all need of documents. Simple snapshots जो आपके फोन से होंगे, आपके बैंक से अगर डेटा मनी जो है विड्रॉ हुआ है, सिंपल उसके snapshots along with a few other things, and I'll let you know क्या क्या चीज है. Alleged suspect, if you know the details of the alleged suspect कि किस बंदे ने आपके साथ ये crime किया होगा, fill those details. अगर नहीं है तो it's okay, you can leave those details empty because that is something which you may know, you may not know. Because if let's say you are working in a company, right, and you are sure that this particular employee has access to my documents, so this particular person might have done those, so it will be easier for the police, right? So you enter the suspect details. Finally, click on submit and you will get a message on your registered email ID as well as on your contact number that your message has been your complaint has been registered, and the details of your complaints will be also there. Then documents which are required for the complaint for different types of complaints. If email based complaints are written, then copy of the email. If you have forwarded that email to already to someone else, please don't use that forwarded copy. Original email को ही आप download कीजिए, उसको save as a PDF कीजिए and then upload that. Full header of the email should be visible. Sometimes it's in a collapsed version, तो उसमें expanded form का उसका icon आता है. Just click on the expanded form and then take it. Copy of the email header should be in both hard forms as well as the short form in the CD, right? Then next is for social media based complaints, a copy or the screenshot of the profile that has been created, जो भी आपका fake profile है या जिस बंदे ने आपके against कुछ derogatory remarks वहां पर post किया, or someone who is trying to defame you, take that particular screen, then उसकी hard copy अगर आप you are visiting the cyber cell, otherwise the soft copy to be uploaded. Then next we are having mobile or app based complaints. Again, screenshot of that particular app, location from where that app was downloaded. For example, we try out new apps from the store, and sometimes that app is basically a virus or a Trojan horse that has been planted onto your system. for the purposes of collecting your data and then giving that particular data to a third party, right? The victim's bank statements in case that particular app has resulted in the transactions, soft copies of all the documents if you are uploading onto the website, or hard copies if you are submitting them to the cybercrime office. Then, if it's business email related complaints, all about the offense that has been done, originating name as in the email or the offender of the email. For example, that person has leaked some trade documents, some trade secrets to another company, then the name and designation of that particular person. Originating bank in case of a bank fraud has also happened. Recipient's name as in their bank accounts, date and amount of the transaction as done, and the swift number. You all have a swift number of a transaction which is there, you need to give, and further information if you are having. But this is for the business related complaints. Then data theft related complaints, क्या डेटा आपका चोरी हुआ. Then a copyright certificate, because if that data was copyrighted, if it belonged to only you, you need to have that copyright. That is why we all also keep on saying that if you have created something of your own, you will also be having a section on IPR and copyright. You will be having that particular session. So if there's some data that belongs to you, and you want it to be protected from everybody, then you please go in for those sort of IPR. Then detail of the suspected employees, and then along with that suspected employees details, उसकी जो लेटर ऑफ अपॉइंटमेंट है, लेटर ऑफ अपॉइंटमेंट के टाइम उसने जो सर्टिफिकेट साइन किए थे, नॉन डिस्क्लोजर एग्रीमेंट्स, फॉर एग्जांपल when I was working with Vodafone, I had signed on those particular documents, and whatever client those particular employee was handling, and the proof of breach of your copyright data, that somebody else is actually using your copyright data, the proof of breach of that particular data. And the devices used by the accused, if you are giving them a company laptop or a company provided PC, then those details are also to be included, along with the physical IP address and the MAC address of that particular system. For ransomware or malware complaints, ransomware is somebody is going to threaten you over email and they are going to ask for you money for you. For those type of complaints, the email ID, or if it's a complaint through a mobile number, then that particular one through which the ransom has been demanded. Or if the malware was attached to your email, then that particular email is to be downloaded. For internet banking, online transactions, lottery scams, fake call related complaints, bank statements for the last 6 months. Then, copy of the SMS that has been received related to that fraudulent transaction, copy of your ID and address proof as per the bank record, whatever you have submitted in the bank. Then, for net banking or ATM related complaints, because ATMs, they are also connected onto the servers through internet. So, printout of the emails, victim's bank statement, details of the suspected transactions, and soft copies if you are submitting them to the cyber cell office. For Bitcoin based complaints, because Bitcoin has also now been included in this particular category, offenses, the address of the Bitcoin, from where you purchase that particular Bitcoin, how much amount you spent in purchasing that particular Bitcoin, and from whom did you purchase that particular Bitcoin. So all these details are valid. Now, before ending, I would like to tell you about a few more cases which were, held. Uh, Cyber stalking, for example, there were this husband and wife were there, and the husband was seeking a divorce case from that particular wife. And what he tried to do is he tried to send a person, जो आपके पास होते नहीं है पीछे पीछे घूमने वाले, जासूस जासूस, राइट. तो उस पर्सन को तो भेजा, साथ के साथ ही वाज कंप्लीटली टेकिंग ट्रैक ऑफ द वाइफ्स फेसबुक एंड इंस्टाग्राम अकाउंट्स. उसको सारा टाइम स्टॉक कर रहा था, एंड ही वाज फाइंडिंग एविडेंस ऑफ हाउ ही कैन डिफेम हिज वाइफ, ताकि कोर्ट में उसको उसको ज्यादा पैसा ना देना पड़े उसको वाइफ को. सो दिस वाज ऑफेंसिव. राइट? तो उस बंदे को ये चीजें करने की वजह से, लाइक इवन इफ यू वांट टू स्टॉक समवन, जैसे हम करते हैं ना आजकल कि किसी का रिश्ता कराना है, तो लेट्स जस्ट चेक आउट दैट पर्सन ऑन फेसबुक पे, ढूंढने की कोशिश करते हैं, उसकी प्रीवियस एक्टिविटी ढूंढने की कोशिश करते हैं, इट्स फाइन, एज लॉन्ग एज द अदर पर्सन इज नॉट complaining about you, it's fine. But as soon as some sort of thing, you use it for some sort of thing, like that husband used that Facebook account ki, my wife is posting so and so comments on the Facebook, he produced them in the court, he was tried under this IT act for stalking her Facebook account, because that is a social media account. You cannot access, you cannot stalk somebody's social media account even if it's a public account, right? Then look alike websites. क्या करते हैं लोग, they change the name of a website, लाइक नाइकी है तो नाइकी का NYKEE बना देंगे या कुछ बना देंगे. सो लुक अलाउट लाइक वेबसाइट्स, ऑलमोस्ट एवरीथिंग इज सिमिलर, लोगों को थोड़ा बहुत चेंज कर देंगे. दिस इज ऑल्सो क्राइम. सो डू नॉट इंडल्ज इन. अगर आप कुछ अपना वेबसाइट लॉन्च करना चाहते हैं, यू आर लेट्स से फ्रॉम CSE, आप कुछ एजुकेशनल वेबसाइट भी लॉन्च करना चाहते हैं, ट्राई टू मेक देयर नेम डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग वेबसाइट, बिकॉज you people might create a website but you might not be having the resources to keep it protected all the times. So कोई भी हैकर आके आपका कोई भी कंटेंट आपने उस पे पोस्ट कर दिया, वो लुक अलाइक वेबसाइट तो था ही पहले से, कुछ ऑब्सीन कंटेंट भी पोस्ट हो गया, एंड देन दैट सम मेजर कंपनी इज नाउ सुइंग यू बिकॉज यू आर अ लुक अलाइक वेबसाइट, और आपके वेबसाइट पे रॉन्ग कंटेंट पोस्ट हुआ. सो व्हाइल लॉन्चिंग योर ओन वेबसाइट्स ऑल्सो, ट्राई टू मेक इट एज फार अवे एज पॉसिबल. जो भी कंटेंट आप उसके ऊपर यूज कर रहे हैं, मेक श्योर it is free from any sort of copyrights, right? If you want to take in some photos for your website, do not search photos on Google, right? Either purchase the photos or use the copyright free photos. Like we have different websites जहाँ से हमें copyright free photos भी मिल जाती हैं, and we get those videos also, and we get sound music files also which are copyright free. जो आप free में MP3 music download करते हो, basically that is illegal. You cannot download that particular music, right? So that is because they are copyright associated with it. Why are we paying money to companies like Amazon Music? हम पे कर रहे हैं, उनका अकाउंट ले रहे हैं, एंड देन ऑल्सो वी आर जस्ट डाउनलोडिंग इट टू आवर ओन डिवाइस, वी कैन नॉट send it further, right? So that is a breach of copyright. If you use a music from a particular website onto your own website, there's a proper manner of how you can give credit to that particular source if you are using it, or if it's not an attribute, मतलब आप उसको एट्रीब्यूट ही नहीं कर सकते, तो आप उसको अपनी यूट्यूब वीडियोस में भी मत डालिए, राइट? वी हैव डिफरेंट वेबसाइट्स, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल pixels.com, उस पे कॉपीराइट फ्री म्यूजिक मिल रहा है आपको, कॉपीराइट फ्री इमेजेस आपको मिल रही हैं, ठीक है? सो यूज दैट पर्टिकुलर कंटेंट, राइट? आपके पास और भी है, अनस्प्लैश है एक, राइट? उससे भी आप डेटा डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं, तो उसमें लिखा आता है कि दिस इज कॉपीराइट फ्री, आप किसी भी यूट्यूब पे यूज कर सकते हैं. स्पेशली अगर आप एजुकेशन के लिए भी यूट्यूब वीडियोस बना रहे हैं, बट देन समटाइम्स व्हाट यू डू इज कि आई लेट माय पेज मोनेटाइज, डिफरेंट कंपनीज मेरे पेज पे एड्स अपनी पुटअप करेंगी, राइट? आप मोनेटाइजेशन भी करते हैं, कभी कभी आप फ्री में नहीं करते हैं, बट मेक श्योर बिफोर गोइंग ऑन फॉर मोनेटाइजेशन, आप अपनी वेबसाइट, आप अपने वीडियो में कोई भी कॉपीराइट कंटेंट नहीं डाल रहे हैं, right? No video, no audio, no images, that is copyright. Even if you are using an image from a book, a textbook, उसका आपको सोर्स देना पड़ेगा, in the bottom of that particular page आप उसको देना पड़ेगा that credit has been taken from this particular book, right? Similarly आप पावर पॉइंट बनाते हैं, पावर पॉइंट बना के अगर आप ऐसे ही नेट पे डालते हैं बिना क्रेडिट के, then it is wrong. You have to give attributes to the source of that. Otherwise another way is completely redraw that particular image. जैसे if you do your thesis, आप masters करते हैं, PhD करते हैं, so you redraw that particular image. Now that image is not taken directly from the internet, you are inspired from that image, but that has not been directly taken, it's not a copyrighted version, right? So this has also been taken. uh, to gain personal revenge, right? Agar I just give out scenarios so that you don't fall into a victim, this thing. You want to take some revenge for a person, so what you do is, or even in fun, what you do is take a particular persons आप उसको तंग करना चाहते हो या जो भी है, you post it on a website, right? Then anybody can call that particular number and वो बारी बारी वो तंग होगा क्योंकि उसको calls आएंगी, and you want to take a revenge. So what happened is, this particular case happened, an ex-boyfriend, he took his girlfriend's number and posted on a 24/7 dating app, right? So उस लड़की को calls आ रहे थे for dating purposes, and she had to ultimately get her number changed. But then before doing this, she filed a complaint with the cybercrime that someone has given my number on this particular dating website and strict action should be taken. So because that data was entered onto a dating website by a particular IP address, then that IP address was traced back, and then that ex boyfriend was traced back, and then he was given punishment for this particular crime that had happened, right? So this is the scenario. So even for fun purposes, please do not indulge in such activities that give out your colleagues or your friends, or instruct your students not to do this with their friends, not to give their email IDs or give their phone numbers to any such platform, right? So this should not be done. You might remember that in 2018, almost all a billion Aadhaar cards were leaked in India, right? And people, they were buying those Aadhaar cards like 300 rupees mein wo Aadhaar card le lo, 500 rupees mein you can buy that particular Aadhaar card. So that particular thing also happened, and that person was arrested based upon how he hacked onto the government website and they took out all that particular information. So even in Aadhaar card, uh, I don't know if you know or if you don't know, but there is a one time Aadhaar card that you can now use for the government. You just go into the UIDAI website, and every time you want to give one Aadhaar card to a particular bank or something like that, you can issue a one time Aadhaar card that will be valid for only that particular transaction. उसके अलावा वो valid नहीं होगा. So there are things that the government has now come up with. You just try it out on the portal. You can secure your Aadhaar card also, right? Just go on to the UIDAI website and secure your Aadhaar card also. So that means it will be secured with a particular number. OTP आएगा आपके पास हर बारी उस आधार कार्ड को यूज करते हुए, right? So if you just putting out that Aadhaar card number anywhere on any platform, an OTP will come to you. You will verify that, and then only that Aadhaar card number will be valid onto a different website. So there are certain measures that you need to do in order to protect yourself. Government has done all these initiatives, but the public at large is unaware of these things that has been done, right? So try out and go out onto the this particular government of India website and check out all the initiatives that have now been taken up to secure you, to safeguard you from these things. So that will be all from my end, and thank you so much. And if you have any questions now, that you can ask.